after this performance against Tennessee, where frankly, he was just as bad before the injury as after the injury. And now the fact that he's injured again, that's 4 injuries in the last 21 games. And we don't know how long it's going to hold him out. What's his trade value now, Jesse?
Okay, so assuming that he's done with the 49ers, I think right now what his trade value is a future fourth that can escalate to a third depending on how much he plays for that team. Much like what you saw with Carson Wentz, theirs was a second that could escalate to a first, which by the way it did. Eagles now have 3 first-round picks. That's what you're going to see with Jimmy, except for it's going to be a fourth that can escalate to a third if he plays the final 2 games, which I doubt happens. But if he does, they make the playoffs and he doesn't wet the bed and plays somewhat decent, I think they could get a third that could escalate to a second. But right now, fourth that escalates to a third, that's what I think. But future, here's what you have to remember, Grant. When you get a future pick, it's basically a round later. So if it escalates to a second, that's basically like getting a third round pick is essentially the way that it works. So that's the way that I see it with him.
Here's the way I look at it. And maybe I'm tripping to look at it this way, but instead of what his value is objectively in a vacuum, I look at it like where's the market? Who wants him? And the way I saw it was, I know Ian Rappaport said the Niners turned down a 3rd round pick for him. I think that came from New England. I think there was a real clear market for Jimmy the last couple of years. It was New England. They didn't know what they were going to do. And even this year, they're probably weighing like, we could take Mac Jones in round 1, who we like, or we could trade a 3 for Jimmy Garoppolo, who we know. And from their perspective, like, that's probably a tough call. A 3rd for Jimmy or 1 on Mac. Well, they got Mac, and Mac's working out for them. I think that they're not in the Jimmy market anymore. And to me, I don't see a team that's in the Jimmy market anymore. It ain't Houston. People say Pittsburgh. Does Jimmy have the kind of arm that's going to play in that weather? I don't think so. I mean, he has no arm strength left. Tell me, which team is over here being like, you know what? Let me trade a 3rd for Jimmy. Which team?
Pittsburgh? I could see Pittsburgh, I think. Washington. I could also see the Saints. I think the Saints are a possibility. A dome team. They're used to playing around limitations of an arm. We saw what they did with Drew Brees down the stretch. His arm is certainly stronger than Drew Brees' was the final 2 years. I don't think the market's going to be as big as what we think. There are guys like, there are some backups out there, right? Will somebody take a chance on a Trubisky, a Mariota, that Huntley kid for the Ravens? Somebody's going to want him to be their starter next year. So there are guys that are starting to rise that you never thought about. Everybody looks at just the draft, guys that are going to be free agents. There are some backups that people will take a chance on because they're going to be cheaper and they're younger.
Yeah. If any NFL team that was looking for a quarterback hired me as a consultant, I would say, do not trade for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
Like, I know people say that it's a terrible draft class for quarterbacks, and I understand. Like, I see that there's no real franchise quarterbacks in this draft. I see that. That's fine. I think there's a lot of good starters, that guys who can win games on their first contract. And if your option is trade a 3rd for the right to give Jimmy Garoppolo $27 million or draft Desmond Ridder in round 2, draft Desmond Ridder. Are you kidding? Like, it's a no-brainer. So any team that needs a quarterback this year is going to have options in round 1 and round 2 that I think are better than trading for Jimmy Garoppolo with a 3rd round pick. So I hate to be like, a hater for the 49ers and hurting their like, I just think any NFL team, if you're watching this show, don't do it. It's a big mistake. Big mistake. You ain't getting Debo. You ain't getting Kittle. You ain't getting Elijah Mitchell, Brandon Ayuk, Kyle Shanahan. Don't freaking do it.
I'll say this. I mean, they watched what happened this year in San Francisco. Maybe there is a team that takes a Desmond Ridder, right? They trade for a Jimmy. They do a 4th that could escalate to a 3rd. Ritter's there. They're going, all right, well, Jimmy can be the bridge quarterback. He's not good enough to play all year. We play Ridder, and we only lost a 4th round pick. Big deal. So, like, that's a possibility as well.
Possible. Yeah.
Grant doesn't see it.
Mac Jones.
Can we just disagree, Grant? Can we play that on Twitter for people?
I just really feel strongly that there's no trade value. That there's no trade market for this guy. But I'm willing to be proven wrong on this one. But
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense to me.
Just takes one. That's
It
my.
does.
I mean, look at what the
It does.
Panthers gave up for Sam freaking Darnold. That guy is horrible.
It's true.
Horrible.
It's true. I just feel like teams seeing Davis Mills, Mac Jones have success are going to say, maybe I can draft a starter in late round 1, round 2, round 3, because you can, you freaking can. You can. Like
You
Carson
can't.
Strong from Nevada. No one knows who Carson Strong is. He looks like a starter to me. Go watch him. He looks like Mac Jones, and you can get him in round 2.
Yeah.
Carson Strong. I mean, he's not special, but if you like Mac Jones, you like Carson Strong, and he'll be available at pick 50. So
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, take a look. Nevada's really cold. Mac Jones, the Florida kid who played in Bama, now having to play football up north in January and February, not going to work just yet. Yup.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the things when people were like, "Oh, it's a perfect fit." I said that in the beginning. I was like, "Well, wait a minute, hold on. They have really bad weather in January and all. That may not be a good fit for that reason alone."
Yeah, I agree. Jimmy could have avoided injury if he just threw the damn ball away. Why isn't that a thing with this team? Throw the ball.
That is ironic. That's ironic. I think if I remember correctly, that play, there was a drag route that was wide open. He didn't throw it. And then he also had an opportunity to possibly throw it away and chose not to. So the one thing that Jimmy has trouble with got him injured.
Walsh Seifert, how does Kyle fit in that and why is the Bay in a love affair with him? Because bloodlines. His dad was the OC for Seifert in that last Super Bowl. It's bloodlines. I get it.
That was a really good coach, the best coach in the league for a few year period. Like that's a big deal.
Before Belichick was the best coach in the league, it was Mike. Kyle just run the ball in. If they slow you down, play action deep passes with Lance, defenses will be on their toes. Kyle's game planning is questionable. Agree. Play action. They were practicing that in practice today. It's been a while. Great as always, Grant. Please, 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 let's be done with Jimmy Garoppolo. Trade value is gone. They will cut him. Good luck to the sucker that gets him. I'm trying to say, man, I'm trying to tell people like it's a mistake.